Seamus O'Connor speaking to Cliona Foley after his performance in the half-pipe semi-final yesterday. Have a look at this.
I was really close, but that's kind of how snowboarding half-pipe is. You're either on it or you're really close, but you're not quite there.
And Seamus, 16 months ago in New Zealand in the World Cup, you completely blew out your knee. You had to have a full reconstruction. So how does it feel to even be back and competing at the Olympic qualifying in the half-pipe?
Right after that incident, I wasn't really sure if I was ever going to be competing again, let alone going to the Olympics. And the time on the couch really gave me some time to think about what I wanted to do. And I set my sights here on Pyeongchang, and it was all up in the air. I had no clue if I was going to be able to do it, but I worked hard and really just put in everything I had. And to be here back for a second time it's unreal. It's very, very surreal.
And you really went for it big time.
Yeah. I did the best I can do, and today wasn't quite enough, but I did everything I could.
Can you make a third Olympics? Would you like to be here in China in 4 years' time again?
It's a long ways away, but being here and looking at the Olympic rings, competing here, I would say I'll be happy to give it another shot. Obviously, it's a long time from now. I have a lot of thinking to do, but I don't think you've heard the end of Seamus O'Connor just yet.
Well, that's pretty good. Seamus O'Connor, good morning to you. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing very well. How are we doing?
So 24 hours on from leaving it all out there, how do you reflect now on the Olympics for you in 2018?
Obviously, I have a smile on my face still. It was a tough day yesterday and last night, and still even this morning. Coming to the terms with the fact that I didn't, land my second run in a similar situation to what happened in Sochi. But that's just how it is sometimes. And I did the best I could do on the day. And I think I just have to be happy with that and move forward.
So look, we were actually talking earlier on about one of the speed skaters who ends up taking a big risk and finishes outside of the medals when she basically left it all out there trying to go for gold. You did something similar. Maybe you might just explain to us, you took a massive risk on your second run to try and catapult you back into contention, and it just didn't work out. So just for the neophytes out there, just explain what happened, will you?
Sure, of course. So after my first run, I was sitting just 1 point away from the 12th position. They took 12 into finals, and I was just there in the 13th spot. So I knew that I had to step up my run, get some more amplitude in there, land my tricks better, hold my grabs, and really just put it all out there in order to try to make that final push. Unfortunately, sometimes you put it all in and you don't get it all out, and that's what happened. But I'm happy to say that I gave it my all. And like I said earlier, it's really all you can do on the day. Did
you try a specific move that you hadn't tried for 2 years?
Yeah, exactly. So the last trick that I did is a frontside 1260. So it's 3.5 rotations. And I haven't done that trick in, about over 2 years. The run that I actually did yesterday, I haven't done a caliber of that run in an even longer period of time. So to go out there and do that trick and do that run feels really good, considering where I was just, a little over a year ago.
Am I right in saying yesterday, Seamus, that it was one of the best half-pipe sessions we've ever seen? And is that a regular occurrence when it comes to qualification? Because I would have thought that a lot of people, the likes of the Sean Whites, would have been saving their best work for the final and their last run of the tournament. Yeah,
absolutely. Hands down, the most intense competition that I've ever been a part of. Certainly the most intense qualification round I've ever seen. It was just different from the practice session in the morning, which was 45 minutes, and then all the way through to the end of the second runs. People were just, going full tilt all day long. And like you said, that doesn't often happen in the qualification rounds. So everyone really brought their A game.
You mentioned there that you've come a long way in a year, and we heard a clip from the interview where Cliona was talking to you about blowing out your knee. When you blow out your knee in that circumstances, and there is a target away in the distance, it can get very difficult for anybody to just maintain the general mental health that is required to see yourself through rehab. How did you manage to do that?
Yeah, that was probably honestly way harder than any of the physical rehab that I had to do. Just keeping, a calm mental state and staying motivated and really kind of deciding what it was that I wanted to do and make sure my goals were aligning with the things that I did on a daily basis. Really, I wouldn't be able to do it without my support crew, just my family, my friends, my physiotherapists, my team. Without that sort of support on a daily basis, none of this would have been possible.
Were there times when you thought that you wouldn't make it?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. I mean, even before I got on the board, sitting on the couch or in physiotherapy, struggling to walk or even bend my knee to 90 degrees, couldn't really even ride a stationary bike. I'm like, wow, is this what it's going to be like? It was a long recovery. It took a really long time to even, accomplish really normal standard things that we take for granted on a daily basis. So I had no clue if it was going to work out. And then I went back to New Zealand and competed in the same event that I had got hurt in and came out with an amazing result. I think I got 11th or 12th. And from that day forward, I had just a extreme boost of confidence, and it solidified it in my mind that this was doable.
When you're talking, and again, anybody who's actually seen it will realize that, you go up quite high in the air and you're going to land on ice, which is hard or is as hard as concrete. It requires bottle, the thing that, I don't know if you use that word in your lexicon, but it requires courage to actually risk the physical damage to your body, and particularly after you've had a horrific injury like that. The first time that you go back out to just go through the motions, do you remember that moment? And do you remember what that felt like?
Yeah, absolutely. Usually you get an injury, of this sort of caliber doing some kind of crazy big trick. And the trick that I got hurt on was something that, I've done probably 1,000 times before. And so one of those first days when I got out there and dropped into a half pipe again, I kind of made myself go and do that trick a couple times. Because I know if I didn't do it early, like it would be a thing in my mind that I wouldn't be able to get rid of. That little voice in your head that's always kind of nagging at you. And I was obviously, pretty scared, to be honest with you, when I was getting back into it. But I had made the decision that I was gonna try and I was gonna do this, and I kind of just didn't let myself turn back.
What happened if you were thinking about this and the severity of the injury, first of all, that you start to think that you may not appear at this Olympics? And I know Cliona was asking you there whether or not you'll come back and whether or not you'll appear in the 2022 Olympics, because you've been professional since the age of 13. This has been your life up until this point. There's one thing leaving your favourite sport when you're an amateur, but it's a completely different thing when you're weighing up leaving your sport that you've been professional at for 7 years.
Yeah, I've got a lot on my mind right now for sure, and the next 4 years are definitely up in the air at the moment. But initially when I was recovering and I set the goal that I want to come here to Pyeongchang, I didn't really see anything after that. I was like, all right, I'm going to go to Pyeongchang, and then that'll probably be it. I can end on a good note, and I'll have accomplished that goal, and I can move on with a smile. Now it's a similar situation as in Sochi. I'm kind of left with this feeling that I want more, and that I can't stop yet. I feel old in the sport, being 20, but then yesterday I'm like, I think I could go another 4 years. I'll only be 24. That's not too old. I think I can do it. So I've got a lot of thinking to do for sure, like I said yesterday. But there's something special about representing your country, going to the Olympics, going through this process, and I guess it just makes you hungry and motivated for even more.
What's life like as a professional snowboarder? So out of competition, like, do you do other things, or is this a full-time, you have to just follow the weather around the world? Like, what is it actually like? What have the last couple of years, apart from the recovery of injury, been like?
It's pretty full-time. When I was fully on the circuit, I would say I snowboarded at least 7 to 8 months out of the year. I've been out of school now for the past 2 years, so I haven't had to worry about that as much lately. But when I was in school, it was snowboarding every day, 9 till 2. And then I would come home and do school from about 3 to 6 or 7, eat dinner and go to bed. It was kind of like just live, sleep, and dreamed snowboarding. That was all I did. But now, having been out of school for a little while, obviously you're traveling from the northern hemisphere down to the southern hemisphere, chasing the seasons. But I mean, it's a really incredible lifestyle. I'm extremely lucky to have lived this life and continue to do so. We go to insanely beautiful places on almost a weekly basis. The people that I'm surrounded by are such an amazing group of people. We're all friends. We're all excited to see each other. And it's a surreal lifestyle. And I think that's really one of the main reasons why I want to keep doing this. Like you guys said, I've been in this sport for a long time, professional since 13, and for a long time it's been all I've really known. And to really switch off and go to a different aspect seems like a really big step. And in August I'll be going to school, so I'll be making my way towards that step. But I think it's definitely possible that I can balance the two sort of lifestyles and get the best of both worlds.
What's your view on the health of the sport in general? Because you think back to the days of SSX Tricky, for example, which was kind of a moment in snowboarding which managed to penetrate the rest of the world, the people who wouldn't have seen this as a sport that they know much about. We've mentioned Shaun White. He managed to penetrate that same level of society that wouldn't have been brought up around snowboarding. And then you look at the performers over the last couple of days, like Chloe Kim yesterday in the women's version of your event, becoming a global superstar basically straight away, and Red Gerard as well, another teenager who is becoming a global superstar. And it seems that snowboarding, and now's the time to do it, is almost on this crest of a wave where it might penetrate the worldwide consciousness once again.
I think so. Snowboarding is an incredible spectator sport. It really grabs people's attention, and now with the level that people are riding, with the tricks that they're doing, it's impossible to ignore. When you turn on the TV and there's a bunch of different Olympic sports, in my opinion, the freestyle snowboarding and skiing kind of sticks out from a few of the others. It grabs your attention. And I think if snowboarding can penetrate that sort of mainstream population and really kind of hit home with a lot of people that are outside our sport and get more attention, I think it can really flourish. But we'll see. I feel that at every Olympic Games there's a lot of hype during the games, and then obviously afterwards things tend to settle down a little bit. But obviously, with Shaun White coming back again, Red Gerard, Chloe Kim, these are all going to be names that people are going to know for a really long time, and hopefully it brings the rest of the sport up with them.
Seamus, how did the connection with the Olympic Council of Ireland first come about? Because as Owen said, you were 13 when you turned pro, but you were 16 when you make the Olympics. Was that a difficult process? Did they contact you and say, here, listen, or did you get in touch with them and say, I could actually go to the Olympics and I'm totally Irish qualified?
So I have my dad to thank for that, for sure. A lot of this back way before 2014, I think was kind of a pipe dream of his, and then he brought the idea to me, and I obviously fell in love with it right away. And I had a little sponsor me tape video when I was about 11 or 12, and I think we sent that to the council over in Ireland, and we got a reply back within a couple days or a week, and kind of the relationship was started from there.
So it was really straightforward in the end. It was like
it was pretty straightforward. Yeah, I mean, at that time, I think, especially snowboarding, that division of snow sports, I don't think there really was a division, a snowboarding division, and so I think it was new territory for everyone involved. And obviously, when things like that are developing, people maybe a little bit skeptical, like, oh, there's this kid coming over saying he can represent us. But once we all got on the same page and we met and we talked, and I started representing Ireland at lower level events like World Cups and National Cups, and I started really backing it. Things took off, and that seems like just yesterday, but now here we are.
Where's your dad from? What's his connection?
So my grandparents on my dad's side, my grandfather's from Dublin and my grandmother's from Drogheda. My father was actually born in Birmingham, England, but he was brought up for the first couple of years of his life in Ireland. He was going back and forth. So that's my connection on my father's side, and then my mom's her side of the family is Russian, so a little bit different.
Yeah, a pretty diverse ethnic mix, but it turns out great for snowboarding.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, listen, James, best of luck. Congratulations, and hopefully we see you in 4 years, no matter what happens.
Hey, thank you so much, guys. Yeah, well, I'll do my best. We'll see what happens.
Thanks a million, man. Best of luck. That's Seamus O'Connor there representing Ireland in the halfpipe.